Evolution or creation, that's a debate for another day. But today I'm leaning towards evolution. I'll tell you why. There's not a fan of the show that doesn't know that I'm not a lover of double cabs. I make a humble apology to everybody who is. I know I'm in the minority, but today we've got a friend of the show, Alan Rosenmeyer from MotorMatters, who's brought something that he said, Mike, I will guarantee you, your lack of love for the double cab will change, and you know what? He's right. Alan, I can see why you've got a smirk on your face, because you kind of already know in your mind. I think it's well known and well recorded that when it comes to double cabs, South Africans absolutely love them. I am in the minority. I openly admitted that I'm different. However, Alan is convinced that he's going to change my mind. Alan, just looking at it, I can see why you've got a smile on your face. What is it about this vehicle that you believe is going to rattle me?
Because, Mike, it's not a double cab.
Correct.
It's a truck.
But now when you say it's not a double cab, the sheer dimensions, just looking at it, it's wide, it's high. It sits on what, 21, 20?
22 inch wheels.
22 inch wheels.
Yeah, it does. It's huge in every way. This is your full-on, genuine American truck.
So now it's fair to say that not having known what vehicle I'm coming to see, I couldn't do my homework. So I know exactly zero about this, other than it's got a monster engine because it's a monster car. Tell me about it.
Mike, I'm not going to tell you anything. You're going to drive it and experience it for yourself.
Oh, the old adage, actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely. Come on, you get behind the wheel.
A perfect Sunday morning. The weather is warm. It's clear. When I say warm, it's winter. 21, 22 degrees. As you can see, I don't have a jersey on. It's warm. Now, normally if somebody said to Michael, what is a perfect way to start your Sunday, it would not be in a double cab. But we're going to talk more about my love or lack thereof for double cabs later. Alan, what are we in here?
This is a Ram 5.7 litre Hemi. It's the Laramie model. Laramie is the spec level in the Ram range.
Right.
You get Laramie, you get Longhorn, and there's another one which I can't think of now.
But we're not in it, so who cares? We're in the best one.
We're in the Laramie, which is like, it's the more on-road oriented one.
Right.
The Longhorn is the off-road one.
Right.
Okay, there's where you separate. This thing is, first of all, it's gigantic, okay? As there's no other word for it.
But it's interesting. So let's talk specifically about the size.
Right.
If you look at the identifiable way to identify this vehicle, it is a double cab.
Correct.
But it's a double cab with something extra. As you'll see on screen right now, the volume of space in the back, it's just incredible. I've never seen a double cab in my life. Not the biggest that we have, not the Hilux, not the Amarok, that approaches anything close to what this has got. Have you sat in the back, Alan?
I climbed in the back just now, and as it was put to me when they gave it to me to test, you could probably fit 4 reasonable size adults abreast in the back.
So as an individual who's 5'6" tall, did you find there was enough space for you?
Just about.
Well, let me say this. I always say I'm not the world's tallest guy, I'm not the shortest, I'm somewhere in between, just over 6 foot. The space in the back is something to behold. Now, performance.
This thing is, I think the word silly probably sums it up. What do you say?
Absolutely. Now, we've all heard the term go big or go home.
Yeah.
The 5.7 litre Hemi engine is well known in many applications. Not the world's most fuel efficient engine.
No.
However, considering the performance it delivers, the fuel consumption is by no means prohibitive. I think it's critical to mention that.
Yeah.
If you drive this car the way it's meant to be driven, and like an absolute animal, of course. If you drive a racing car at high speed, of course, and uses fuel. However, this car is not fuel inefficient, but we'll come back to that. 5.7 litre V8.
Yeah. Okay.
What is the absolute standout for you? Some people say it could be the torque, some people say it could be the kilowatts. Something else for me that stand out. What is it for you?
Look, it's the first thing is put your foot down that growl. The V8 growl is just, I don't care what the world does in efficiency of smaller engines and whatever. You have little 2-litre turbos today that can put out more power than this does.
Sure.
In numbers on paper.
Correct. But that is a critical thing. Always.
Yeah.
We always talk about power. you can boost an engine to deliver maximum kilowatts, a Golf GTI, a VW Amarok, and I'm not knocking them for 1 second, but displacement is always what's going to translate into raw power Newton meters. This particular engine, is it supercharged, is it turbocharged, or normally aspirated?
Naturally aspirated, left alone. I mean, they can do things like that, but that's not what this one's about.
Of course.
So you're looking at a roughly 290 kilowatts.
What is absolute standout is the smoothness. Now, V8 engines are not inherently, I don't know if you're aware of that, inherently smooth.
Right.
Just by the sheer nature of a V engine versus a straight engine.
Okay.
A V engine is always going to be slightly inherently unbalanced. As technology's moved on, they've done their best to eliminate that. However, you'll never see a V engine being as smooth as a straight engine. But you don't get a straight V8, you get a straight 6.
Yeah.
For me, it is the smoothness. When you think of a V8 with that natural low grunt torque, that sheer power, they don't need to rev. You're not thinking of revving a V8 to 6,500, 7,000 revs.
What for, basically?
100%. But there's one thing that you'll notice on the rev counter of the Ram, there is no red line.
Yeah, that is an interesting feature. You picked it up when we got into it.
And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to work out why there's no red line. Now, Alan, incredible vehicle. Sitting in it, you'd think this thing was imported from Germany or Japan or anywhere that's got a right-hand drive market. This car comes from the US, brought into South Africa as a left-hand drive vehicle, fully converted. And when I say fully converted, you're looking at a dashboard, you're looking at a drivetrain that is properly configured for the right-hand drive market. Tell us a little bit about US trucks.
They're based in Richards Bay, down KZN.
Yes.
And these guys, I am blown away. It's my first experience of their products as well, let's be honest. And if you look at the way they've done the conversion, the dashboard, which is locally manufactured and fabricated, all these things are locally done, and yet they are so brilliantly done. But I've got to give recognition to US trucks. They are recognized by Ram and the manufacturers in America.
Right.
They have, on certain occasions, they were telling me about it the other day. I mean, these guys are so passionate. It's such fun dealing with them.
Look, I just love the way you're lighting up, because these guys they've been good to you. They deserve this incredible exposure. And if there's one thing that I pride myself on, I do not sit on the fence and I do not say what the camera wants to hear. If I was not impressed by this vehicle, there's no question I'll do it in a tactful way. However, I'm not going to say incredible vehicle. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I get out of here and say, Alan, what is this about?
No, for sure.
They deserve the incredible respect that they've earned. How many a year do you know are they selling?
I don't know that. I'll be honest, I'm not sure. But this is not, well, they've got a couple of arms to their business. Let's just give them a quick plug, because this will be coming on my side hopefully next week.
Yes.
Is a big part of their business has been Toyota Land Cruisers.
Right.
Now, you know, the latest generation Land Cruiser, they finally fitted the 4-cylinder GD6 motor and an automatic transmission.
The one that they use in the Fortuner, the
Prado, etc. Correct. Okay.
I just need to talk about that engine, and it's interesting. I was speaking to somebody about great engines. As somebody who grew up in the 80s, when it comes to great engines, Toyota always stood out. We knew names like 1Y, 2Y, 3Y, 4Y, 18R, 22R. The names that no other manufacturer could say, wow, when you spoke about a Volkswagen or you spoke about a BMW, that you identified an engine. The engine that we're talking about in the Fortuner, the Prado, now the Cruiser, I don't think people understand just what a magnificent all-round engine that is. 150 kilowatts, roughly 420 Newton meters of torque. Why do I say roughly? Because Toyota, like all manufacturers, they use technology through the ECU unit to deliver torque at different revs, slightly higher, slightly lower amount, depending on the application. That is a faultless engine that my grandkids, not my son Jaden, because he doesn't like cars, we'll deal with that at home, Jaden, but my grandkids, I'm not going to let two Pashuts get away without liking cars.
Never.
We'll talk about. But you were saying about the engine, Alan, sorry.
Okay, so that is an unbreakable, unburstable engine, as they term it. It's nothing for them to do 500,000 Ks on an engine.
Of course.
So they finally, I use the word finally, put that in, because the output of that engine, again, I love using the term on paper, compared to the old V8 in the Land Cruiser,
Yes.
the GD6 puts out more kilowatts.
Correct. Correct.
So you've got that. Now, what US trucks were doing with up to now was they were offering an automatic gearbox conversion because there was no auto option in the Toyota range.
Correct. Which in itself seems incredible.
Well,
but a discussion for another day.
Yeah, another day, because, let's leave that there. But now, the interesting thing was, because when I was driving with Jason from US Truck the other day, and I said to him, but now surely they've killed your little market there by bringing out the GD6 with auto. He said, nope. He said, there is still a massive market for guys who want the old V8 because of, we had this long discussion about the difference with the V8. Let's not go back there now. But there are still plenty of people who want the V8 with the auto.
Right.
Plus they're doing a couple of other little bits and pieces and tricks on them that are still in development.
Of course.
Supercharging and other things. Let's not even. But that is a massive part of US Trucks' business.
Incredible.
And then they do this, and apparently they've done a few Hellcats and other things even.
Yes.
And I understand, now this is just from phone conversations, that I think it's the latest Hellcat. Before it was officially launched in America, they already had the specs and had everything, and they were doing their own work on it. Yeah, in good old RSA.
So that tells you how important the company US Trucks is to the Americans, that they will share that kind of information.
So even if they're only doing
Yes.
5 a month, just you to me that spells of the high regard and the
course.
recognition that, as I say, little old South Africa's getting from the USA, who normally are way too big and better and bolder and everything than we are, right?
So let me give you the easiest answer.
Okay.
On your screen right now, as indicated, is the details of US Trucks. Lovely people, accommodating. They want your business. When you speak to them, you will understand that they're not doing you a favor, and that is the way business should be. Call them. Hope you've enjoyed it. For all things motoring, change cars, proudly so, Michael Pashut. And thanks to Alan Rosenmeyer, who's also all things motoring, change cars. But you've got one additional brand. Alan, touch on MotorMatters briefly.
Okay, Alan R from MotorMatters. Anything, everything to do with cars, driving, motoring in the South African context usually, but this is kind of touching on the edges, but proudly associated with the Change Cars and All Things Motoring brands, because I think we kind of brothers in arms.
Absolutely. So as a owner of a platform, Change Cars, and the TV show All Things Motoring, I don't say it with any arrogance. We have the privilege of getting to work with many journalists and many journalists approaching us. However, I will say it on record, Alan, your work ethic, your desire to give back to those who give to you. A day like today, you get the vehicle from US Trucks, you want to give them exposure.
One of my biggest privileges of what I do for a living is sharing with my friends. We do our road trips. I mean, the famous MotorMatters road trips, I've got to comment. We always take a couple of friends along.
Beautiful.
And that to me is just such a privilege of what I do. And then there's this.
Well, I'd love to share a saying that I truly, truly believe in and live by, and that's not being self-effacing. About 15 years ago, a good friend of mine, he's now 93 years old, and many, many more years to you, AB Sank. AB Sank founded the Market Toyota Group in Cape Town, and he had a saying. We all know the derivative of the saying, the more you give, the more you shall receive. He embellished on that and allowed me to do so today. The more you give, the more you'll have to give. Think about that beautiful statement that was told to me by a very, very, very wise man. Not a wise old man, because old is only about years. Wise. AB, thank you. It has always stuck with me. Ram, you've converted me. US Trucks, you've converted me. I just am absolutely smitten and in love. Always make the joke, what kind of security systems have they got in it?
Yeah.
If you tell me they're not good, the vehicle will disappear. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Hope you've enjoyed this. Do yourself a favor, investigate this vehicle a little bit more. It is super special.